Okay, we're live. Hello, dear Starshines. Christina here with Life Body Academy. Welcome to today's Lunchtime Chats. I am in yet another new location. This time we've decided to blow the popsicle stand of the United States, and we're down here in Mexico, in the beautiful Gulf beaches of Tulum. What a lovely area this is. It's really a blessing to be able to travel like this and see these magical lands. We're going to do we're going to spend several weeks checking out the pyramids, the sacred sites. There's lots of magical places here, including the cenotes. We're doing all kinds of stuff like that for the next month. So I'll be updating you guys with these chats as we go, and keep you tuned in to anything that's really cool that might be happening here. And let me smudge off the thing. So I'm not in a private place. I'm in this corner nook of a beach restaurant. So please let me know how the sound is and if the wind is a problem. And please let me know if the music is overpowering. Evidently, techno is the big genre that's preferred in this area. It's kind of like I don't know how to describe this place, actually. Well, number one, it's high season, but there's hardly anybody here. I think that's very interesting. I'm wondering if maybe it's COVID, or people are afraid to come out, or maybe more people are in dire circumstances. Who knows why? But it's very interesting that there's hardly anybody here. Last time I was here, this place was hopping, packed, full of people everywhere. The beaches were full. It was chaos everywhere, and now it's relatively calm. I mean, like I'm at this resort, and there's maybe a handful of people here. It's very interesting. Anyway, so let's get on to the chats. Like, what the heck is going on in the world multi-dimensionally today, or this week, or however it's been? You guys let me know that you're here. Put your comments in. There might be a little delay. And also, please let me know about the signal. Is it coming through okay? Is it digital? What's happening with this? Okay. All right. So I have some messages that I was sent that I want to talk about. And one is about the Micronova, the solar flash that many of the narratives are talking about. Hi, hey, Ella. I was just talking about you, darling. I was just telling a little bit about your story and how we met here in Tulum all those years ago. Oh my gosh, it's so cool that you're here. Thanks for chiming in. Yes, so I am. I'm in Tulum, darling. And it has changed so much. It's nothing like it used to be. Well, it's kind of like what it used to be, but more with a lot less people, which is really interesting. So the jungle side of the street, the beach side of the street, where there was like a jungle side and a beach side, well, this jungle side is no longer really there. It's all this massive master plan community that is called just the neighborhood of Aldea Zama. And it's these high-rise penthouse apartments, condos, and all this kind of stuff like this. So it's really interesting what they've done. I like the idea of a master plan community, but I don't like the fact that they cut down thousands of acres of jungle to build it. It's really hard. Actually, when I first got here, I was really struck by how little jungle there is left. But do know that I'm with people here that are aware, and they're doing ceremony, and we're talking about one of our travel companions is talking about holding ceremony for the jungle spirits and connecting with the lands and stuff like this. And I'm doing my own thing in my own way, and there's a lot of processing going on. This is all tapped into dreamtime, and it's taking me into really deep levels of humanity that's kind of like stuck in these places of behaving against their own true nature. Okay, and this is getting resolved on a collective level, and I feel like me being here is that's bringing the light body crew in here, and so we all are impacted and are working these energies in the way that's conducive for our own particular energy center and energy signatures. So it's very, very interesting what's happening. Anyway, so let me get back to, I want to talk about this, the Micronovas-solar flash thing. And I also want to talk about, there's another piece in here. It was the narratives about the solar flash and oh shoot, I lost it. It was here. I was just talking about it with somebody. All right, I guess I need to get the solar flash narrative thing out. Oh yeah, ETs. Okay, yeah. So I want to talk about the narrative about the Micronova/solar flash that's supposed to happen, and it looks like we're building up towards something like that because there have been an unprecedented amount of solar flares being released from our sun since the new year. And I think a lot of us are feeling it. Our nervous systems are feeling it, stuff like that. But then I also want to talk about the ET game and what's going on. And this is really important. I got another message from another dear friend of mine who's also a medicine woman who shared an experience that she had, and it was right on par with the things that I was thinking about, which is very normal for us. My friends and I, especially when we're multidimensionals, it's like I'll be thinking about something and they're thinking about it too, and then we'll just make a comment and we instantly download the whole conversation we've been having inside of our own heads about it. It's a really cool way to it's a really cool connection because we really understand each other, without a lot of words, which is a relief in my opinion. Anyway, so let me get to this, right? So we're talking about those micronovas, and so this is interesting because the Micronova/solar flash. Wait a minute, I'm saying this wrong. Sorry, this music is a little. It has a lot of bass that kind of disturbs my flow here. Okay, so we have the solar flash / micronova narrative. And what is that? Many of you guys already know, but for just in case some of you guys aren't sure about this, what this is, it's this concept that there's going to be a massive release of radiation, gamma flares, solar flares / gamma rays, and all this other stuff from the sun. It's going to fill the entire heliosphere, which is every planet within our solar ring gets impacted. And it's going to instantly wake everybody up. It melts away. It'll melt away, burn off, so to speak, with consciousness, all of the non-truths that are alive within this heliosphere. So that means control systems that are against the truth of the higher truth of life. That means technology is getting knocked out. I mean, there's lots of layers of the implications of this. And for a lot of us who've been on this journey of awakening for quite some time, we realize, oh my gosh, we have been lied to from the get-go for many generations. So there's a lot of non-truth that we thought was the truth. We really believed and thought was the truth. And then at some point in our progress, some point in our path, we all of a sudden discovered, oh, that's not the truth after all. And sometimes it's a real hard, rude awakening, and other times it's like a relief to find these things out. So what I'm saying with that is that when we all of a sudden are struck with deep truth, like the truth of who we are on an infinite level, it's jarring because there's so many layers of non-truth that's alive inside of not just our biofield here with the collective and the infiltration of the telluric realm and all that stuff, but also our subconscious, our ego driver relationships, all this stuff. There are layers and layers and layers of non-truth. So if a solar flash were to happen, all that stuff burns away. And then who are we after that? Just think back. When's the last time you stuck your finger in the spiritual lightning socket, right? When's the last time that happened? That's when you sit with, on the top of the mountain with a guru somewhere, and you come down and your whole life gets destroyed, or you go to some sacred site and you get activated and you walk away being a completely different person, reinventing your life. I call that the spiritual lightning socket. So the solar flash is like that times 1,000. And what's happening here is that there's a lot of narratives that people on the spiritual path, people on the ascension journey, people on the awakening journey. There's all these words that we use to describe it. But what's happening is that the falsehoods that have been accepted truths that were narratives, in that path, are being revealed as not truth. It's like we're just waking up that it's not the truth. And I feel like that's the result of these daily solar flares that we're having. It's like bursting, hitting all these non-truths that we thought were so in our lives and our reality, and we're all of a sudden waking up being like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. And it's not like before you would stick your finger in the spiritual lightning socket and you'd have years to process that, even decades maybe, right? Depending on how soon or how long you've been doing this. So it would happen in the 70s and then you'd have a decade to process. It would happen in the 90s, you had maybe 5 years to process. It happened in the 2000s, you had a year to process. Now we're at this time now, it's like you have maybe a day to process, right? So, and this is happening one right after another. And there's a crisis of faith that people are hitting, like, oh my gosh, this if that baseline truth that I thought was the truth isn't so, what else is a lie? What other parts of these narratives have I accepted that aren't really the truth? And when we're going through this crisis like that, guys, let me know if if this is also affecting you like this, because this is where our mental flexibility is important, and that is our ability to let go of rigid thinking, our ability to let go of the need to control, let go of the need to have a clear understanding before taking action. The need that, the sense that you got this, it's like, no, none of us got this. We are all along on this wild roller coaster ride. None of us on an ego driver level can know what's on the other side of this because it's so far away from what we've known for thousands of generations on this planet, right? So it's like the cellular memory even, it has to get unburied for us to reconnect with the real truth. And is that 10,000 years ago? Is it 40,000 years ago? Is that 100,000 years ago? Is it 1,000,000 years ago, right? How long is that exactly? I'm curious what you guys think about that. Let me pause real quick. I'm just going to check in with some of these comments. Hello, dear Soul Schooling. So good to see you. Yes. Okay, Andrew. Yep, good. Nice to see you, young trick named Jim. It seems progress continues to hit all the places of paradise for generations now. Okay, so this is coming from dear sister Joanne in Hawaii, which definitely knows the game I'm talking about that's going on here. And young trick says, the base is low frequency that triggers the fight or flight response due to predators stalking our ancestors in the past. People feel this deeply in big cities. Oh yeah. That was coming up for me in my Akashic records this week. Letting go of control, trust. I just keep hearing trust. Yes, thank you. Hello, dear sister, Cosmic Kestrel. Ooh, Cosmic Fountain. Oh, Falcon. That's how I'm translating that. I'm assuming Kestrel Falcon. Hodai, that's you. All right, darling. So this is your message that I'm responding to, actually, about this narrative and this micronova. So, right. So all this is happening, and all these narratives. And this is why I never really. I will be in my statement and I'll own it for right now. This is how I feel about it. But I might change my mind tomorrow. I might change my mind an hour from now. I might, it's likely that I will change my mind on where I'm at in relationship to something. And that's because I have a really deep level of awareness that, we have so many layers of distortions and inversions impacting our perceptions and our experience. There's really no way to be 100% sure. All we can do is feel the truth in our heart as it is today and trust that and trust it and take actions based on those feelings versus actions to take effort to have control or to hedge your bets, so to speak, right? All you can do is, that's why cultivating that truth compass is so essential, because that truth compass it's not about the narrative. It's about being able to feel a truth inside. It's about that. So the truth, we feel it. We don't understand it. We feel it. You feel it in your body. You can feel it resonating in your cells. And the truth, because all these inversions and reversals, is something that evolves over time as we evolve. When I say evolve, I mean, as we deprogram ourselves, as we unwind intuitive blind spots, we settle more and more and more into what a frequency of truth feels like inside of our bodies. And then once we start living our life in alignment with what we feel is the truth, and like this is where a lot of grace and synchronicity starts to take over in our lives, and we learn to trust that more and more and more. I mean, really, and I'm so grateful to be able to say that I'm living proof of this. It's like my life is, it's not that I don't have issues and problems, because of course I do. I'm navigating, I'm human, and I run a business and all that stuff. But, miracles drop out of the sky in my life over and over and over again. I mean, even this, I'm here in Tulum because someone said, hey, I want to take you to Tulum for a month, So I'm like, okay, So I have this lovely starshine, treating us to, me and my other travel companion, treating us to a wonderful month here in this beautiful paradise. But then but it extends into other things too. So what I'm saying is that truth compass is how that grace and ease comes into your world when you're in a place of chaos. It's like you can be. Synchronicity is a real thing. All of you guys know that. And synchronicity isn't just about being happy and having great things happen. It's about the truth finding itself. It's about the truth finding itself within you. The external truth connecting with your internal truth. It's magnetizing. And when it does that, it melts away those reversals. It melts away those inversions. And maybe some of those inversions were narratives that we really bought into and thought were the truth and operated as if it was the truth. Now, it's okay to change your mind. You could realize, oh my gosh, and this is what dear sister Starshine was messaging to me. And she's like, well, now I'm questioning everything. I mean, everything I thought was so I don't think is now. So I have to start over from scratch. Now, some of us that are still invested in who we think we are, that is a very scary thing. But for those of us who've really, been able to accept the depth of how much we don't know ourselves, we can be like, oh, good, we get to start all over from scratch. It's like clean slate is a freeing feeling. It's more freeing than it is scary. Sure, it can be a little scary, but it's more of a liberation, because now you don't have to stick to anything. You can start over and reevaluate everything from the beginning. And when you don't have all that chatter that's attached to these things that were inverted and reversed, you can hear those inner whispers. You can hear those inner whispers more easily. I hope this is making sense, what I'm saying. But I do want to read dear sister Starshine's message, because I think there's some more things in here that you guys might catch too than what I've already stated so far. Yeah. Trusting and aligning to truth is definitely the way to go now. And remember, the truth is relative still, and it's going to keep changing. And it's okay. You don't have to be right. There's no scorecard here. It's about doing your best and sincerely wanting to be who you really are, like really know your truth. Once that's a sincere desire, and that is the dominant angle that you take to things, it gets easier to let these things go. Okay, so I'll start from kind of the middle of the message. I'm going to read it. I'll do my best to be smooth. All right, so it says, I know you follow Suspicious Observer. I have been probably for 10 years or better. So Suspicious Observer, just for you guys in case you don't know, that is a YouTube channel of a scientist that watches the solar weather. He's like a disaster predictionist kind of guy. Now, I don't necessarily agree with some of the things that he says, but the science and the data that he uses are solid. He's very grounded in the data that he reports. That's why I listen to him. Some of his other side narratives I'm really not into. But it doesn't matter, because his data's solid. That's what I want. I want solid data, not stuff that's obscured, not stuff that's hearsay, not stuff that's been distorted. I want to know the straight up data right from the source of it. So he studies all sorts of information from the different observatories and stuff like this. and he does these solar reports. Every morning he does these solar reports at like 5:30 in the morning. So you can start off your day with this information. I prefer to start off my day with something much more upbeat. So I don't, but with him, but I just tune in when I feel like it's important. So anyway, going back to, so she says, watching our sun and its effects on everything. My confusion now is about some of the narratives, some of which I felt were truths. With the impending micronova, how does that change some of the ET agenda narratives? Okay, I'm going to talk about that because that's actually a really big deal right now. I mean, for those of you who have the capacity to remember dreamtime and be aware, have an awareness when you're in that space between waking time and dream time, there's major stuff going on in that space. So I'm going to talk about that too, because that's really that's the big thing for humans right now. Okay, anyway, how does that change the ET agendas and narratives? How does that change the dark agendas? I simply can't get why these agendas would continue when the micronova will affect all, including the higher dimensionals. I know I need to focus on my vibration, etc., continuing to grow my love and understanding for my own journey into new realms. I know my immediate goal is to find joy and beauty in the now and to keep working on myself. Just seems like my thoughts, knowings, feelings, understandings have been flipped upside down, and I somehow have to start from scratch. So, what do you guys think? Are you resonating with that kind of thing? I have a feeling a lot of y'all are, myself included. Okay, so let's go into these ET narratives and agendas. So, I quite literally am watching humanity wake up to an entire universe, a new universe, okay? And how can that be? You know, a universe is somewhere in another universe, gazillion light years away. But it's not true. Universes are our consciousness connects us to other universes, other galaxies. And this is what I think the ETs have been teaching me for many, many years. And I really, I only can understand in increments. And the first thing I had to understand was that thought traveled faster than light. So that means I can have a thought, and another aspect of me in another galaxy somewhere can receive that thought, or another being that's connected to me, soul fam or whatever, can instantly get that thought. And then I also got the lesson that I can have telepathic communication to beings in ships, whether they're light ships, physical ships, in the earth, above the earth, in the ocean, doesn't matter. It's like instant. I have the thought and I get the response. It's just like when you're talking with your spirit guides. You don't even have the words formulated yet and you're already getting the answer, okay? Thoughts travel faster than the speed of light, which scientifically, there's nothing that can travel faster than the fastest speed of light, right? So there's a lot of things that don't really work and that aren't compatible, these ideas. So that was something that was taught to me. Then I started to be shown how all these different star systems are alive in our body. So when I'm communicating with Pleiadian frequencies, for example, in my mind, I'm thinking my thoughts are traveling faster than the speed of light to beings in the star system, the Pleiades, right? But really what's happening is that the star system Pleiades is inside of me. It's via my DNA dance that resonates with them, with that consciousness, that's how it is. So I can actually go inside and go to one of the Pleiadian planets, go to one of those stars. I can go inside and go to the sun. I can go inside and experience Jupiter. I can go inside and go to Orion. Okay, it's not an external thing at all. So that was another layer of things they were teaching me. And it took me a long time to get this as a actual truth that was happening. It was my perceptions that were distorted, not that these were, metaphorical. I mean, it's literal. It's like the actual frequencies of the Pleiades is inside. The actual frequency of the Pachamama herself is inside. It's in our body. It's a frequency that's inside of our bodies. So we don't have to travel to the core of the earth in order to connect with the core of earth. We can just bring our awareness to the frequencies of the core of the earth, and we're there instantly inside of our bodies. Okay? So this is the same with universal awareness. There are universes that have been created that are finite, and there are universes that have been created that are infinite. And humanity has been in a finite universe for, well, time is subjective, right? So for a very, very long time. Let's say it like that. Maybe we can say since before the fall of Atlantis, right? So that means inside of ourselves, we're resourcing, our subconscious is resourcing from that finite universe. Now that we're in this time of transition, I'm seeing people with completely different energy systems resourcing from completely different star systems than before, even different universes. Now, I saw this coming on for several years, but now I'm realizing more and more people are making the leap, they're making that jump where they are now resourcing from within their subconscious, which is how we create this outer reality, right? Our subconscious is starting to resource from an infinite, a universe that's infinite. I've heard the resource called the Astaria universe. That's just a name to me. I can't say that that's true, like absolutely true or not, but just to give a word to it. But I call this the infinite universe. So there's more people within themselves are resourcing in their subconscious from the infinite universe and no longer from the finite universe. So the finite universe is where the Earth comes to an end. There's a major disaster, and everything ends. Maybe the solar ring itself eventually gets consumed by the sun. But the infinite universe that we resource from within ourselves, it's one of more life. It's one that creates more life. It doesn't feed on itself. Okay, so you can have two different people standing next to each other physically on this planet, and they could be resourcing from completely different universes. That means experiencing this reality in completely different ways. Okay, they are creating totally different realities with their subconscious. Okay, because remember, 90% of our reality is made with our subconscious. Only 10% of it are we actually aware of. You see what I mean? Okay. So solar flash, bring in the solar flash thing. When you're in that infinite universe frequency and the solar flash happens, we just go deeper into the infinite, which means we wake up to ourselves. And the fact that this is happening while humans or life is on this planet means that this is a grand adventure that we haven't had happen before. And so many of us are more than excited to take part in this journey because it's brand new. And that's what the infinite universe is all about, is infinite movement, endless movement, new ideas. Something that's brand new is like more worth than anything, because newness brings more movement, brings different relationship, brings, what I mean? One new thought, idea cascades into new experiences for gazillions and gazillions of beings. You see what I mean? So that's the real commodity, if you were to call it commodity. I don't like that word. If we can think of a different word, let me know. But hopefully you guys can feel what I'm trying to say with that. So when it comes to these ET agendas, right? So these solar flashes are happening. They're melting these inversions and reversals that we think are the truth away. So now we're being reincorporated into the larger galactic family as a galactic citizen, okay? Which means ET communication isn't something that is only for the fringe humans. It's a regular dialogue exchange that happens. It's a regular event. It's like calling up a friend and asking them out to dinner. That's how common and normal it is to have off-world communications. So the quarantine that the human consciousness has been under for so long is lifted, and there are ETs from many different galaxies, star systems, universes reaching out to humanity right now to co-create with them. Okay? And let that all sink in for a second. Imagine, a scene from Star Wars, like the bar scene on Tatooine, right? When there's all these different ET, all these different species together in one place, and it's no big thing. It's normal. That's how our consciousness is meant to be. That's how this planet is going to thrive. That's where we're going towards, in the sense that when you have multiple beings together in one place, this is how we accelerate our consciousness, accelerate our growth, accelerate our activations and stuff like this. Why? Because we learn new things, new ways to look at stuff, new ways to relate to things, new ways to heal, new ways to learn, new ways to make love, new ways to have art. You see what I mean? The new. And that is a very, very high value in this infinite universe that many of us are resourcing from within. Okay, so there's the finite universe and the infinite universe. Now because there's infinite numbers of universes, right? So I don't just say there's only one finite and one infinite. I don't mean to say that at all. This is for language purposes. You know, I'm just speaking about these two things. Now let's talk about the dark agendas. Why are those agendas still happening, even though it's potentially inevitable that this micronova is going to happen, right? And it's because they have an escape plan and they want to harvest. This is where I'm at with it today, right? And I was just thinking about this last night, actually. They want to harvest. They need to harvest as many souls as they can before they have to take the emergency exit plan. And the emergency exit plan is this, I'm going to call it a Saturn cube that is in the... all right, I guess I do have a physical location. I can say it's like in the southern, it's near the southern tip. Oh, no. Oh, okay, actually, they don't want me to say it out loud. Okay, so there is a Saturn cube that is a doorway for them to go into back into the finite universe. They need to harvest as many souls as they can through that cube space, through that cube portal, through the fields of Saturn to get to the Wezadek universe, the Wezadek galaxy. Well, no, universe is the word, okay? Now, Wezadek is a specific finite reality, but there's more. So, and the reason why is because they're doing a mass exodus. They're planning their mass exodus. And this is why the game is so intense. And this is why you have so many, such a large kill-off going on, because they want people to be confused. The more confused and suffering that a being is, the more easily manipulated they are. So when they leave their body and no one is actually taking care of the death process, like ushering them into, into the realm of the ancestors, or back to the sun, or somewhere where their soul gets a respite or something like this, they get hijacked and get directed right into the cube space. And it's a black cube. I imagine you guys probably see it with just me talking about it. And you might see smaller fractals of these black cubes collecting about, but there's a master one that's in the south, further south than where I'm at. So that's how I'm seeing that going down. It's like that's why the narrative or the strategy is more intense than ever before, because their days are numbered. Their days are numbered on this planet, and they are harvesting as much as they possibly can before they have to permanently exit. Now, many of them are not going to make it to their exit. I don't know if they know that or not, but it's a feeling I have. There's going to be a lot of folks left behind, so to speak, because when that closes, it's they have to get there before it closes, and that's it. And this has been actually shown to us in some of those apocalyptic movies where all the ultra rich people have these giant ships that will survive the earthquake or the tsunami or whatever it is that had the spin of the earth, is the turning of the poles. I can't remember I think it was called 2012 with the one with John Cusack in it, right? So this has been shown to us that, there's all these bunkers and safe places and all this stuff. But really what they're showing is that, there's a backup plan to the backup plan, There's a backup plan for when everything goes south and everybody has to exodus. So everybody, as in those who have the agreement, those are part of the agenda of staying within the finite reality. Eventually everybody goes back to source. It's just we don't all get to go intact. The more separated and fractal you become, there's only so many fractalizations that can happen until you turn into cosmic dust. And once you're in the form of cosmic dust, you go back to source. You go back with source with no memory, no experiences to share. You know what I mean? You're just coming back as a blank slate. And maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. It's hard to say what's good or bad, right or wrong about any of this when, if you think about this all being one big flow, one big effort to have infinity in the reality, you know. I mean, for the longest time, I believed love was the highest force in this universe. That was where I was at. I was like, love is the highest force. There's nothing more than love. But then I worked with a Toltec master who was an immortal, who showed me that no, that wasn't true. The highest, strongest force in the universe is movement, infinite movement. That is the ultimate aim. So love, yes, is a very powerful force because love propagates more love, right? But it's not the highest aim. Okay. Can you see? I know this techno is, oh my gosh. Thanks for that, young trick. Okay. So, so let's get back into the galactic citizenship, right? Okay. So for the longest time, talking you had ETs and UFOs meant you're a crazy person, or you're a fringe person, or you're this, you're that. But really, as we awaken into who we really are as multidimensional beings in these biosuits, we're getting reincorporated into the galactic citizenship. Some might consider that empire as defined by George Kavaslis, but some may also consider that the borders, so to speak, the extraterrestrial borders are all now open, and all beings are allowed to contact humanity, and that's what's happening. The quarantine's over, all the borders are open, and all these beings are now reaching out to humanity. So a lot of New Agers, they think the highest frequency of ETs, or benevolent frequency of ETs, because they're of higher frequency, that means they're benevolent, but that's not true. They all have agendas. All of them have agendas. They could be benevolent. They might definitely feel that way, but what we need to understand is that we are as benevolent as they are. Now I'm talking about we woken up to who we really are, as benevolent as they are. So do we have agendas? Do you have an agenda? You see what I mean? So you need to understand the reason why they're doing things, and then you can evaluate if they are a proper association for you. Okay? So the Galactic Federation, that is one group with an agenda. There are many other galactic levels of consciousness out there that have agendas too, right? So you decide. There's lots of them. I mean, far beyond just the ones I've mentioned on these chats. Now, I am, me personally, I feel like I'm more of like I'm with whoever I'm with, because I feel like being with them at that time. And when I'm going into the more galactic levels, I have this awareness that everybody has the direction, the intent of where they want to go. And it's up to me to figure out what my intent is, to see who aligns with that. And then that's who I'm aligned with. So sometimes that might be with the Galactic Federation. Other times it might be with the Guardian Alliance. Other times it might be more with the Syrian Alliance, or Ishtar Command, or you know what I mean? It really all depends. And I don't know why on a soul signature level I have that, but I do. So I don't really question it, in the sense that, that's who I am as an infinite being, or that's part of who I am as an infinite being that my consciousness can touch. Because my personal agenda is my authenticity, being an expression of my truth, and that's what's number one important for me. So who is to say who's good or bad or right or wrong, or more benevolent than other people? It's all about relationship, right? It's all about relationship. And so these beings that are approaching and want a relationship with humanity, their way in for us to communicate is dreamtime, and the space in between dreamtime. So all of us, especially those who engage dreamtime and have an awareness and can, bring it into the conscious awareness in their waking world, are getting approached by beings, many different kinds of beings. And I'm talking about beings that don't need UFO technology. I'm talking about highly advanced interdimensional consciousness. I'm talking about there's degrees of this level of consciousness in our inner Earth. We have the ant people, for example. I was talking a lot about the ant people a couple of years ago. That is huge, and it's just getting more massive. When I say massive, what I'm talking about is that, as our frequency lifts as a collective and the frequency of Mother Earth shifts, their free energy technology, which is built out of natural landscapes, is going to come online. And as those technologies come online, it not only gives us all free energy, but it also is tuning our consciousness to a particular frequency. And the ant people particularly honor all life as sacred, honor all life as being sacred and being worthwhile and respected. And they consider themselves, they're like custodians to life, And there's a lot of lore about ant people. If you talk to the Hopi and the Dene, the Dene is kind of like the spirit, maybe spiritual, more spiritual holding of the Hopi spiritual life. They call themselves Dene. I'm not really clear on what that lineage looks like, but I have spoken with different medicine men and women that make that distinction. Anyway, they have many stories about the ant people and how the ant people, when the time of the Great Catastrophe, which is what we equate as the fall of Atlantis, the Great Flood, all that stuff, the ant people saved the Hopi, saved the Dene, and brought them into their underground tunnels and stuff, and gave them food and taught them how to live and stuff like that. So a lot of their spiritual inclinations come from working with the ant people. Now, somewhere along the line, during the inversions and the reversals of the collective fields and the infiltration of human consciousness, eventually there was a betrayal that happened. And what I think the metaphor is saying is that someone misunderstood what an ant person did and thought that their person was taken, when really they were trying to help them, save them in a way, and they did something to harm the ant person, and that created a major breach within their reality and within the relationship, and then the ant people closed themselves off from them because of that incident. There's many different versions of the story, but this is my summation of all the different versions put together, that I've heard. But there are many different categories of consciousness. We have interdimensional, we have extraterrestrial, we have corporeal, we have non-corporeal, right? We have all these layers, and all of them are now allowed to make contact with us. All of them are. Now, granted, they're not going to want to make contact in a way where, they're going to trigger the human fear and our aggression, where we're going to want to attack, right? They are aware that the sickness is still pretty strong within humanity. So the safest way for them to communicate with us, to connect with us, is with dreamtime, in that space in between dreamtime. Now, some of them want to teach us how to reclaim our master creatorship, our master creatorship, as in we are master creators within this biosuit here to create a reality for life to flourish, right? We are the ones who navigate where our sun, where our heliosphere travels within the galaxy. And once we are awoke to our galactic levels, we are the ones who navigate and decide where we go on a galactic level. You see what I mean? So do we continue to keep merging with Andromeda? We decide that as a collective. It's not, Andromeda is crashing into our galaxy and eventually this place will be destroyed. That's what science tells us, but that's what regular science tells us. But when you go into the multidimensional realm, that is a conscious choice to have those two galaxies merge, right? I talked about this a little bit last week about superclusters. They can't figure out any rhyme or reason why these superclusters, why these galaxies travel together through the cosmos, and it's because it's not gravity. And my hypothesis, what I introduce is that it's consciousness. They are all consciously aligned to the same intent, and that's why they're traveling together the way they are through the cosmos. That's us. We do that. We do that. We are the caretakers of this three-dimensional reality. We are in charge. You, me, our families, our friends. We are the ones in charge of creating this reality. This is why it's so important that we collude with these poisonous pieces. They couldn't be here if we weren't the ones colluding with it. You see what I mean? So this is why those ET beings are all reaching out and they want to have a relationship with us, because we are profound master creators. Profound master creators. We can create a nook within this reality for them to exist. We can bring their soul groups to incarnate and have a biosuit experience as well, if we choose that. Okay, now think back for a second. Does that sound kind of familiar of a history that we're aware of? Like the story of demigods, right? The story of Hercules, Theseus, Alexander the Great. Those were all demigods. That means they had ET DNA. They had a human mother and a extraterrestrial / God father, right? Poseidon was one that fathered many of those demigods. Now these are Anunnaki interdimensional beings that bred with females so they could have a biosuit experience. Not all of them were in favor of humanity maintaining their master creator status. Many of them wanted to continue a power over agenda, which is shown to us over and over again in their stories, you know. So as the feminine rises again and reclaims their power as a cosmic portal within their womb, we will be way more discerning on who we allow, as in what souls we allow to come into this reality to enhance it. We choose souls that enhance this reality, right? We don't choose souls that want to dominate, control, and cause pain and suffering. So on that level, we retake that. The dying process, the process of leaving this biosuit, that too, the intermediary goes completely away, and we just, close our eyes, our biosuit expires, and we're awake to who we are on another level. There's no life review. There's no judgment. There's no, you see what I mean? That too gets returned to us, and we are the authority again on that level. And then, of course, we reclaim our ability to dream what it is that's inside of us that wants to enhance this experience of life on this planet, be a benefit to life on this planet. You see what I mean? So this is where we're going, and this is what that solar flash is going to do. People who are really into the standard ideas about science in the 3D world, not awake to the multidimensional reality, are going to, they imagine this world being destroyed. And if that's true, that's not a truth that I'm aware of yet. Right now, I'm in the camp of we are waking up to who we really are as master creators, and we're going to create something beautiful. Okay, let me get to some of these comments here. All right. Okay, where did I leave off? This is oh yeah, thank you, darling, thank you. All right, so this is a young chick named Jim. He says, I've consciously experienced Source more than once. It had me crying nearly every time. Nothing but infinite love, expansion. The planet is not even a grain of sand in that universe. Yes, that definitely puts things into perspective, doesn't it? Soul Schooling says, love can be the motivator of the movement. Yes, thank you for that. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, and that what creates beauty. And this is what it's about, beauty, creating beauty, okay? Not nightmares, beauty, what feeds life, right? What feeds and enhances this experience that makes it that much greater for all of us. Okay, Cosmic Kestrel. I love that handle, darling, by the way. This is very helpful, and I actually have thought along the same as you. Somehow I must pull up my big girl pants and stay focused. The earthquakes and storms, total distraction, pulling me down. Okay, wonderful. I'm glad to hear that from you, darling. And Luna Radio says, Luna Rio says, I get that same sense that plant medicine, that the medicine has its own agenda. I get that same sense with plant medicine. It does. It has its own agenda. Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. Young trick named Jim says, I used to have an agenda. I don't think I do anymore. At least that I recognize. I'm still aware wait a minute. Sorry, I said that wrong. I used to have an agenda. I don't think I do anymore. At least I'm recognizing where I still have agendas. I'm working on just being here now. Yes. And it's, that's the best we can do, right? Just work at being here now. And there's a great alchemy that happens with that. We listen more. And as you know, and if you guys don't know, I'll just say it out loud here, that listening to somebody is such powerful medicine. Just letting someone know that you hear them. You're letting them share their story. You're letting them share their experience. Even that, your presence with that is profoundly healing for people. Okay? So I know, because a lot of times, we think that it's the advice we give. But it's not. It's not the advice we give. It's not the suggestions we make. It's the fact that we are present with them and we can listen to them. And when they pause or get lost in what they're saying, we engage and say, tell me more about this, or tell me more about that. And then they'll find their place again and they'll keep going. It's because it's healing. It's healing them. Let them getting to share what their story is. That's so simple, right? That's so simple. We all can do that. We all can do that. You don't need to be psychic or intuitive or empathic or anything. By the way, folks, the best drink on this planet, in my opinion, in my maybe not so humble opinion, is the magical coconut. The magical coconut. Oh my gosh, this is a nut from heaven. There's so many great qualities about these green coconuts. When I was in Panama many years ago, decades ago, if someone had any kind of kidney issue or any kind of bladder infection or urinary tract infection, whatever, they would put the person on a green coconut fast for 3 days and give them some herbs, and it would be done. They would be over it in a very short amount of time. And there's so many other really great uses. The coconut is considered isotonic to the human chemistry, so it absorbs very easily into our system. Electrolytes, everything. So anyway, a little side John on that. I love coconuts. This is actually what I love coming to the tropics or any place that has this kind of climate is the magical coconut. This is my hands down my favorite thing to consume when I'm in these areas. Okay, so I'm curious, who feels like they've been getting contacted? Who's been getting contacted? And if you have been getting contacted, what are they saying? Are they introducing themselves? Are they asking you if you want to come play? Are they taking you on their? Are they taking you to their dwelling? Is it a ship? Is it interdimensional? Is it in the earth? I mean, do you have a sense of any of these things? I'm really curious. I'm noticing that I'm seeing a lot. I mean, an extraordinary amount of UFO activity. Like when I'm looking up at the night sky, there's so much activity going on. It's amazing. And it's really easy to tell the difference between a satellite and a ship, because a satellite keeps its trajectory traveling across the night sky. The ships maneuver. They change directions in very unnatural ways, and they come closer and they go further up. And if you are good at being still inside of yourself, you can project thought into those ships and get a response. I think, what's that guy's name? Um, what's his face? The main disclosure guy. Um, I think undisclosed is, oh my gosh, now Dr. Greer. That's it. That's some of the techniques that Dr. Greer suggests is meditating and using lasers and stuff like that to get the attention of these different vessels and making contact. And I think a lot of the folks that have reported going to his events do report that a lot of their experiences happen within dreamtime. Like they have really vivid dreams. So all part of the game, all part of the waking up to things, All right, let's see. Is everybody being shut? Okay, so the well within me. Oh, that's a great handle too. Says me, visions in dreamtime. Okay. Yes, Dr. Stephen Greer. Thank you, Joanne. My partner was contacted 2 nights ago, very tall being right next to her bed, soft hands, but he was sick. Oh, interesting. Okay. So now, truth compass will out, right? You really need to get into the truth compass. I'm curious of what data sets make one come to the arrive at the place of understanding that they're sick. It could be that they are like a nature spirit, or they're closer to the natural world and they're sick because their habitat is declining or something like this. I know there's a lot of beings of the Fey realm that are like that are going through experiences like that. Nature devas, river devas, stuff like this. So there's a lot of inquiry to happen with those sorts of things. And I encourage you guys to ask questions, ask a million questions, get all your questions down. And then as you hear the responses, notice what your body does with those responses. I had a dear Starshine message me this morning saying that being approached her in the time between waking and sleeping, and they asked her if she wanted to join them. And they said that they work with cosmic creation energies, aka dragons. Okay, so that is in my reality of communicating and talking with beings. Okay, cosmic consciousness often takes the form of dragon in my world, in my reality. So I'm just saying that because I think a lot of you guys will also have that too. So, and I think she took a rain check on that invitation, because I think she said that right now she's just working at navigating the human experience, and I can't remember the other part she said, but that's a grown-up answer. That's like, okay, this is really cool. Can I take you up on it another time? I'm not really sure, and you'll know that. There's respect there because they will respect that request. They won't continue to push after you say, I don't know, maybe, can you come back later? You know what I mean? They'll respect that. They won't push on it. Those that are pushing on it, they have an agenda. They want something from you. They want you to do something. Okay. And that agenda is more important than you arriving at it at your own, in your own autonomous way. So, and this is why I don't like the language when a lot of spiritual people say, oh, I was told I have to do this, or I was told I have to do that, or, I really don't like that language, because it's like, where's your autonomous free will in all this? You don't have to do anything, And I tell beings that, when I started telling beings that, it was very interesting. I had to go through my own wall of fear of not being, being out of line, or not being respectful, or not being lovable, or, I had to go through all the big wall of fear to stand up for myself in those realms and realize, listen, I have to be able to navigate with autonomy and sovereignty on these levels. This whole I am not worthy thing, tell me what I should be doing, is not appropriate behavior. It took me a while to figure that out, but I finally got there. And once I did, the game changed big time. The game really changed. And the kinds of beings that would approach me changed too. All right, here we go. Okay, so then we have dear. All right, we have a couple more chiming in with their experiences here. So we have, and so dear sister Ella says, um, in one, I was in a ship, felt like a false flag. Others, I was absorbed by one, but woke before getting to anyone other than I was in a small city and getting people together, assuring them it's okay, and there were ships landing. Okay, yeah, let's talk about that because that is actually an imagery that often accompanies the Galactic Federation agenda. Okay, so here I'll read a couple more and then I'll go back to that because that's important because that is an agenda. All right. I don't take my dream. Young Trick named Jim says I don't take my partner's dreams lightly. Um, I I have they have proven to be premonitions nearly every time. My partner has an extremely active pineal gland. Yeah, dream time is very powerful, folks. Very, very powerful. Um, and even though there's things that don't seem to make sense to logical mind coming from the dream, I don't take any of that lightly either. Those are treasured. That's a treasured dialogue going on. You'll never be lied to in a dream. Okay. Now, what I mean that by that is that if there is a being trying to lie to you, you will have a feeling about it. If there's a being trying to mislead you, you will have a feeling about it. You see what I mean? It's like it's very difficult to hide things in dream time if that's not you hiding them from yourself. That's the big thing. You got to strip away all those things that's you hiding things from yourself. Okay, keep going. One more. The space between wake and dream, the hypnagogic state, is something I practice every 3 days. That state of being offers a direct line of communication to the subconscious mind. It's very healing. Yes, I agree. It's a very potent state of being. And your subconscious, your beingness talks to you during that time very strongly. This is why a lot of times when people wake up in the morning, they have that is the dream level that they have in their memory, not the actual dreaming when they were really asleep, but that hypnagogic state is where they have imagery lingering from, which is very, very potent. Okay. Let me go back to the ships landing and all this stuff, right? So one of the narratives of the Galactic Federation agenda is to prepare humanity for a landing, for first contact, so to speak, but it'll be with the governments. And one of the first things that happen is that humans will need to give up their sovereignty in different ways in exchange for healing technologies, in exchange for peace on this planet, in exchange for, you know what I mean? There's a deal that gets made, okay? And humans will have to acquiesce in certain ways in order to get the deal, and the governments will pressure or force the humans to do that so they can have this deal. Now, this is not a good deal, right? Because that means all of a sudden these agreements that the government makes with them, then we're no longer sovereign. We're not sovereign in that. Our resources become committed. Our labor, our life force is still going to get directed and harvested in certain ways. It's just that it's going to be better than the ways that we're living now. Like the wars will end, right? The destruction of the environment will end. Those are all things we want, but at what price do they come? And this is where humans really got to get clear on their value system, because when we're very unhappy and we're suffering, and a savior is coming to help us, right? I mean, we're willing to do things we normally wouldn't be willing to do to, quote, be saved from destruction. so there is a time. There is definitely a time when those of the empire, the empire as Cavaslis would define it, are going to approach and make these offers. So the trial by fire isn't over with the solar flash. That's really just the beginning in what I'm estimating here, because all these beings want want a relationship for some reason. And it's not necessarily that's a bad thing, but it's more about where are we in our autonomy / sovereignty in these relationships. Okay, do we sell out all of the life force energy of our children, grandchildren, and for generations to come, or is there something else happening, you know? All right, two more, and then I'm going to wrap up. Oh my gosh, yeah, because it's after 7 minutes after. All right, here we go. So Joanne says the wall of fear we must all go through is claiming personal sovereignty is different for each, but a requisite for continual growth, awareness, and development. Freedom to be and see more. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It is. It's a scary thing, but we're all going to show up for it. I think all y'all listening to this, watching this, I think you guys are going to see it because you have a truth compass and you're going to follow your heart. All right. Felicia says, I am contacting advanced beings to work through my health concerns. Powerful and subtle. Warning, don't ask them to come in before night sleep. Better only in the morning. Yeah. Yeah, so there's beings that can put people in chambers, healing chambers. I want to encourage you guys to check out your own personal guides around that, because there's a lot of stuff that there's a lot of things that are affecting the biosuit that we could clean up in a single day using those chambers that they make available to us. And then, dear sister Joanne, this is the last one. The challenge is not sell one's soul. The devil tempts us. The devil tempts us via the government's deals. The archetype of the prostitute. Wonderful. Okay, thank you for that last chime in. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here in the chats. I really appreciate you guys contacting me and sharing what's personally going on with you. It's so valuable. I don't think you guys realize how valuable that is. It's like, I know some of you guys worry about like bothering me, but it's not really like that. It's as long as what it is that, don't expect me to type a big long response out, because that takes me a long time to do those things. I do appreciate hearing from you, and do know all the messages you send me, I do get them. I'm just not always able to respond in a really well thought out, thoughtful way. So when I bring these things into the chats when it's something that really feels relevant for a lot of people, and just keep that up. And I appreciate all of you. Mwah. I love that you're all here, and thank you so much for being a part of this and supporting me. I'm gonna have to go. This place is starting to get busy, so lots of love to you all. We'll see you on the other side, and if the flash happens, we'll see you on the other side. Bye, guys.